I want to ask you about LeBron because you went on Twitter and you called him. It's true. It's what he's already said. You went on Twitter and you called LeBron the MVP this season, and I want to know what you think gives him the edge over Giannis. Besides, of course, the fact that you're the one who recruited him to the Lakers.
Well, no, because I think that he affects the game. LeBron affects the games in so many different ways, and this year he's almost averaging a triple-double. And when you think about the way he's played defense, and then last but not least, the way he's been an incredible leader, he has really brought those guys together and kept them going. And LeBron himself also is on a mission, right? He wants to show people that he can go from Cleveland to the Lakers and win a championship, and especially with all the history that the Lakers have. So I think LeBron has played unbelievable this season and really took AD's game, Anthony Davis's game, to a whole nother level. So I'm really impressed with LeBron. Now, Giannis, no question, he's had an incredible season. It wouldn't surprise me if he was named the MVP, right? But LeBron James, in my mind, has definitely won the MVP in my mind.
Mac, I know you got a different opinion.
I do. Just flip-flop that. I got to go with Giannis. I mean, I just think, you know, from the first game, this kid has been on a mission. He arguably can be the Defensive Player of the Year this year, so he's playing both ends. I can't take anything from what LeBron James is doing in his 17th career, which is incredible to put up the numbers. But we can't forget he's also playing with a first-team All-NBA in Anthony Davis. I mean, it's not like, you know, his situation where he was in Cleveland. He was playing with an All-Star and Kyrie and Kevin Love. This guy's playing with Anthony freaking Davis, one of the most talented guys in our league, and some great role players that they have. But I just got to go with Giannis, man. Just the things that he's doing on the basketball court in terms of his leadership, putting up big numbers. He's rebounding the ball, he's assisting the ball, and he's playing great defense. So, I mean, he's definitely made a strong case.
I think you guys are both right. I think we were both left stalled with what both of these guys were doing this season from a team standpoint. Obviously, Giannis trying to get his team back to the Eastern Conference Finals, hopefully to play in the NBA Finals. But, you know, the work that LeBron has put out there over the years, what he's been able to do from team to team, and his longevity, that to me says a lot. Being a guy that played 17 years in this league and was hanging on my last leg at that time, pretty much, I take my hat off to say that I don't want to take nothing away from neither one of these guys. If the league is ever to split an MVP, this is their chance to step up, because both of these players are MVPs this season.
I agree to that.
It's unfortunate that we don't have a chance to really see them battle it out to the end.
Well, hopefully we can see him in the finals.
Speaking my language, Scotty. That's right. Maybe the NBA Finals will determine it.
Hold off on that
I got
trophy.
all three of you here. I have to ask, Scotty, I'm going to start with you. If I had Magic Johnson, Tracy McGrady, and Scottie Pippen on a court to play a game of horse, who wins?
I'm going to have to give it to T-Mac, because he's going to be shooting those long half-court shots. And me and Magic, we wasn't adjusted to those long shots. Like, if we shot 2 or 3 three-pointers back in our career, like we almost had to look over there to the bench if we didn't make them. So I may have to give T-Mac the edge, but I'll be working all over.
But you got to understand,
stuff like that.
I do have the long range, but this is horse, so any shot counts. Now, Magic got that hook.
Right.
Magic has the sky hook. I don't have that in my game. So I could potentially get a letter or two from Magic with the hook. But I'm definitely going outside deep, where it's, you know, you need a life jacket out there to hang with me.
And Rachel,
so I think we will both have to bow down to the great Magic.
Hey, Rachel, I just want to be the point guard with T-Mac on one wing and Scottie Pippen on another. That's all I want. Just, woo, can you imagine?
You know what?
Can you imagine?
Man, I would love.
No, Magic. I was able to live that dream in 92. I can't imagine.
I played with J Kidd on the USA team, so I can only imagine how awesome that'd be.
Yes. Wow.
I love both of you guys, man, and thank you for what you've done for the game. T-Mac, Scott, Pippen, you know you and I on the dream team, brother. I love it. And then Rachel, thank you. Thank you for what you've been doing on the jump. It's been amazing. And Kendrick has been, Kendrick is a star now. You guys made Kendrick a star now.
I
know.
It's amazing. So tell him I missed him on the show.
We're developing young talent, Magic.
Yes, he's unbelievable. So don't forget, go to UncleBuzzHemp.com.
He's played so many times, so regularly, it's basically become like a baseball player stepping into the batter's box. You never want to whip on a pitch, but if you do, there's always another one coming. That is until last season, when he and the Lakers never even made it up to the plate. Last season, when LeBron dealt with the most significant injury of his career, when he started to feel the first real wisps of aging. You know, it's always interesting to watch truly great athletes go through this. I remember talking to Derek Jeter once about he was actually more nervous and grippy playing big games toward the beginning and end of his career than he was actually at the start of his career. That it was a whole different urgency once Father Time forced you to realize you're only going to get so many more innings. So it wasn't a surprise yesterday to hear that before Game 4 between the Lakers and the Heat, LeBron, well, he texted his team's group chat with 2 words: must win. And he went even further when he talked to the media.
I just felt that. I felt that vibe. I felt that pressure. I felt like for me personally, this was one of the biggest games of my career. And just wanted to relay that message to my teammates, what type of zone I was in, what type of moment it was.
One of the biggest games of my career? That's quite the sentence when you think about, well, LeBron's career. But it's easy to see why it felt that way. After Game 3, where Jimmy Butler had given injury-ravaged Miami more than a little bit of hope. Game 4 was set as the battle for the heart and soul of these NBA Finals. Bam Adebayo, coming back from his shoulder injury, only heightened things, as did Butler, who came out smoking in the first quarter, going 5 for 5. The Lakers, meanwhile, looked, well, a bit grippy and sloppy, too. LA had 9 first-half turnovers. LeBron himself had 5 of those. But LA got some nice contributions from their role players, including Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. KCP has not had the easiest go of it over the years from Lakers fans, who think the $38 million the team has paid him over the past 3 years has been excessive. But he has earned every penny over these finals. And Anthony Davis, who had a rough Game 3, well, he earned his money last night, too. His defense on Butler was stellar. After the first quarter, Jimmy was just 1 for 7 with AD checking him, although it was LeBron who met Jimmy at the rim and was on the other end of that dunk. Ooh. And as you can see there, it turns into a little bit of an Incredible Hulk moment. You know the whole "don't make me angry, you wouldn't like it when I'm angry" line? Yeah. Watch LeBron's response here after slamming down that basketball. Dude splits the hedge, hits the shot off balance, and got the and one.
Yeah, look at that. Go ahead and flex on him, big fella. He's too big to be splitting. Like, you got to be able to close that gap on big fella. But yeah, sometimes, man, when you start to feel that pressure, you got to answer, and that was a huge answer.
Now, the Lakers never trailed after that. LeBron would finish the game with 28 points, 12 rebounds, 8 assists, and that must-win win. Now, the first, and we know that he tweeted early in the morning. Yeah. He didn't sleep after that, right? Because he was still more than 5 hours after the Lakers left the arena. Maybe it was just adrenaline. Maybe he was thinking about Game 5, which actually is a must-win, guys, for Miami. Yeah. But it sounds like it might also feel like it for LeBron James. He's 35 years old in a couple months. Even if he still might be in the longest prime in the history of professional sports, health is never guaranteed. Basic math says there are only so many more pitches coming. And if last night is any indication, he certainly has the ability to hit a few more out of the park. Richard, I'm having some problems with my IFB and my elements.
You're doing a great job. You're doing a great job.
It's not good right here on the technical front. What is your biggest takeaway from the Lakers win last night? Because you're sitting next to me, so I can hear you.
Well, the crazy thing is that, you know, I think I texted you. I was like, they look a little nervous, right? They look like there's like a lot of pressure, and when you don't want to make mistakes, but you end up making mistakes, and it mounts. You know, my takeaway from this is every series, and especially NBA Finals, there's a game that you have to win that you're not supposed to. We saw it with Anthony Davis hitting that big shot against Denver. We saw it last night where if someone would have told you with 2 minutes ago that the Miami Heat would have won that game, there'd have been no surprise. So the Lakers won a game that literally was 50-50, and that gave them control of the series.
You know, really, I think it's LeBron's, his will. He's imposed his will in this series like none other. Like, I've watched LeBron throughout his whole career. And the fact now that you see in this series, like, he's not waiting for Anthony Davis to light up or to get going. He's using his will. He's not allowing Miami to make these runs, to gain the momentum. And that's the difference that I've seen in LeBron in these finals compared to what I've seen him in past. It's where he's given up the ball, he's went and stood in the corner. You see very little of LeBron taking off on plays in this NBA Finals.
Yeah, no, he doesn't have an option, right? That's what this team and the way this team especially made up on the offensive end. He doesn't have an opportunity to take a moment. Every single thing, and this is the first time, he hasn't been favored many times in all of these NBA Finals.
Yes.
Combine that with this is his first time up 2-0. It's kind of like everything is there for the taking, the fourth championship, so there's a different experience for him, even a guy that's been in the Finals 10 times.
Well, I think in this series he does have options. I think Anthony Davis is having a heck of a series. I think Kentavious Pope is having a heck of a series. I think all of his supporting cast are having a great series, but I think it's the fact that LeBron has led. He has not followed, and he's forced these players to follow. In past season, LeBron has stood back, and been more of a guy who's facilitated. He's used his will, and I think it's really because Jimmy Butler challenged him. He challenged his manhood, and he felt like that he had the upper hand on LeBron James. LeBron James is 17 years in this league, and he's still playing some of the best basketball that I've seen in any 17, 15, 14, 13-year-old vet that has played in this game.
After the Lakers win in Brooklyn last night, LeBron James was asked if the Lakers are, quote, one piece away from cementing their status as a title contender. LeBron responded, quote, "We have enough right now." Scottie, do you agree with that?
Well, if it comes from the king, I have to agree. You know, we've seen LeBron go into the playoff with a depleted team, and he's been able to come out on top. So I think this season he's really been doing a great job of instilling confidence throughout his teammates. That's why he's leading the league in assists, because he's willing to distribute and build confidence in these players. You know, we know it's him and Anthony Davis are the names, but it's been the other guys that's been contributing to make this Laker team as good as they've been this season. It's been about Dwight Howard. It's been about JaVale McGee. Those guys have controlled the paint. They've established themselves as a good defensive team. And when you hear that coming from LeBron James, he knows what it takes to win a championship. I believe what he says.
Absolutely, and I just think those guys are understanding how to star in their role. And the more that they continue to grow in their role, and what he said, LeBron keeps instilling that confidence in them, by the time the playoffs roll around, that's not going to be a team you want to face. And for Dwight Howard, I'm really happy for him to see a young man evolve like that and finally be able to come to terms with, hey, I'm going to be a shot blocker, a rim roller, a runner, a great teammate. And now the benefits you can see is starting to come back to him.
I think we all agree on Dwight. I'm going to be the dissenting opinion on the Lakers needing more potentially. And this is the reason why. When LeBron is off the floor, which isn't all that much, it drops off like a cliff. And I just think that they need another guy who can initiate offense. Rondo, for as great as he's been in his career, isn't that guy anymore. I don't believe, not on a consistent basis. And Kuzma has struggled kind of with his role a little bit, a little inconsistent. Some nights it's 25 or 30, other nights it's 4. So paging Darren Collison, who could be available, I know there's been rumors about that. Yeah. Someone who can stabilize that second unit would be great.
But I will battle you. When the playoffs is hit, when they hit, Rajon Rondo will be ready to roll. If you didn't see him a couple years ago with New Orleans and what he pulled off against Portland.
I saw it.
I'm just telling you, that guy, that's what veterans do.
Right.
The regular season, okay, you can say what you want, but when those playoffs hit and that popcorn's popping, Rajon Rondo's going to be ready to roll.
And I have to agree with you. They have the veteran players that are capable and willing to take them to the next level. And Rajon is definitely the guy that I believe that can carry this team. I saw what he did with a Bulls team before he broke his hand in the playoffs.
They had Boston.
Yes.
They had him.
This guy brings a lot to the table, as well as LeBron James, and it's hard for these players, being veteran players and played the amount of games that they played, to bring it night in and night out.
Right.
But they're setting up something very special here.
Yeah, I just think that the key words, everything you guys are talking about, is a couple of years ago. And I think that, look, Father Time is undefeated, and everyone hits it at a little bit of a different time.
We're going to put a lunch on this one.
But we will. Let's do that. We'll put a lunch on that one. All right, let's move on. The All-Star starters were announced last night, and Hawks second-year guard Trae Young was among those selected. You can see he had an emotional reaction to finding out the news last night. It's good stuff there to see that. But, Coach, you agree with Young being named a starter?
I'm happy for him, but I don't agree with it. I still think that position voting it throws it off, because Jimmy Butler should be a starter, hands down, at the 2 in the All-Star game. And it's no knock on Trae. You know, that's really good for the kid, and the kid is an offensive monster. But Jimmy Butler should be starting in that All-Star game.
Congratulations to Trae Young.
Yes.
Well deserving to some degree to the way that he's been playing. But to take Jimmy Butler out and put him ahead with what the Miami Heat have been able to do with a record of 31-13, that's an insult to Jimmy Butler. And that's why that fans should not be allowed to vote, because it's about the players that are out there playing against one another. They know who the dogs are. They know who the best players in the game are, night in and night out. And I'm not taking anything away from Trae Young. What I am looking at is how your team has performed thus far.
I am going to agree with one of the greats, a man who coached some of the greats. I'm with you on Jimmy Butler. He absolutely should have been in. But here's the thing. The way this thing gets split up is interesting. So 50% is the fan vote, 25% is the media vote, and 25% is the player vote. And I also think, as you pointed out, Fizz, the positionless part of this. We play in a game where there are no positions. We shouldn't even be talking about front court and back court anymore. Just give me the top 5 guys. And I believe, and maybe the guys in the studio in the control room can correct me if I'm wrong here, but I'm pretty sure Jimmy actually got more fan votes than Trae did too. The problem with Jimmy was that he was voted in as a forward, or he was characterized, depicted as a forward, and Pascal Siakam had more votes. The media actually voted Jimmy in as a starter in the front court, but the players, this is the interesting part. So the media had him in, fans had him just out, 4th, but the players had him 6th on the front court ballot. And I thought Charles Barkley made an interesting point yesterday, Scottie, and I'll ask you about this. He's like, hey, players don't like him because he sometimes can rub people the wrong way. And I feel like maybe that kind of bit him a little bit.
It's part of the game. Yeah. You know, you don't want players to like you. I watched a guy go through his whole career, speaking of Kevin Garnett.
Yeah.
He didn't give a damn if players.
No, he don't want friends.
Yeah. And he brought that kind of attitude. But I don't think that kept him off of any All-Star balance. So I like Jimmy Butler keeping his attitude and being that dog in the league. And if players don't like him, hey, kudos to you.
Yeah, and he obviously he's found the perfect home, because that's how the Heat are.
You know it.
It's all about we don't want anybody to like us. Yeah. We wanted it was us against the world type of deal, and so he's found the perfect situation for his attitude and the way that he approaches the game. You know, it's unfortunately he didn't get the vote, but his team is playing big-time basketball.
No doubt, and they'll play tonight. We'll have more on the Heat and Clippers tonight coming up in a little bit, and more on Jimmy Butler particularly.
Thanks for watching ESPN.